Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Welcome to another edition of Great Millstone Mailbag Extra. Comes to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash. All praises and glories due. And I'm here for another edition of the Daily Edification, the Daily Exhortation. Now this video will be an example of patience. And it's due to the fact that, as of late, we've been seeing a trend. When I say we, beginning with Elder Apostle Tar on down, we had Great Millstone. We've been seeing a trend of individuals asking questions, and because they lack patience, they'll go from one individual, ask him a question, and then go to another individual, ask him a question. And some guys are doing it to sow discord. They have some kind of sinister ulterior motive, and others are doing it because they lack patience. And if there's one thing that this truth is all about, is patience. And when you look up the word patience, it means to suffer. And the point that I'm making here is, when you ask a question, don't expect your question every time to be answered immediately, especially if you're just coming into faith. Okay, sometimes it takes time for your question to be answered. It all depends on the spirit. And the reason why that happens is designed to teach you patience. Now I have an example of patience here, from the book of Daniel, the 10th chapter, and it deals with Daniel the prophet, which when you go back to the 7th chapter of the book of Daniel, he was receiving all kind of visions. Okay, visions mainly dealing with the end times of Esau's kingdom. He was also seeing visions of Yahushai and the great power, the great majesty of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Now in the 10th chapter, what Daniel set off to do was to afflict himself. In other words, to fast, because he wanted answers for a lot of the visions that he was getting. And it's here that we pick up, the lesson. This is the book of Daniel, the 10th chapter. And I'll start the first verse. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar. That was his Babylonian. I'm sorry, not his Babylonian, but his Babylonian name going into. Yeah, I was correct. His Babylonian name going into the Medo-Persian Empire, the name that was given to him, Belteshazzar, because Belshazzar was a Babylonian king who was killed by, I believe it was Cyrus, and Cyrus took over the kingdom from then. The kingdom became the Medo-Persian Empire, because the Medes rose up first and then later the Persians. All right, and that all goes back to the secular history. So Daniel's name in the beginning of the Medo Empire, then later Persian, was Belteshazzar. And reading on, it says, and the thing was true, but the time appointed was long. And he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. Yeah, some of the visions that he saw is going to happen in this generation, this time period. Okay? Like he saw visions of Yahushai coming back and destroying this kingdom. Okay, so the point is, he was getting a lot of visions, and some of the visions that he was getting, he wanted answers for them. So he set off to chastise himself, to fast, like it says in the next verse. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. That's 21 days. Okay? I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. So he was fasting. neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. So he was really in like a pure state. Now, as we read on, we read about the vision that he saw of Yahweh Shai. Like it says in the 6th verse, his body was like the beryl, and his face the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. Now, when we jump down to okay, let's jump down to the 10th verse. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved. Now, I believe this he was an angel which appeared to Daniel. Remember, he was in a state of fasting. Okay. As a matter of fact, in the 11th verse, and he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent, which was an angel, which the word angel means messenger. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart, meaning your mind, to understand, meaning understand what? The visions that he was getting. From the first day that he decided to chasten himself, Daniel that is, from the first day he decided to chasten himself so he could receive the understanding of those visions, from the first day, let's read on, that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy power, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy word. So it took 3 whole weeks, that's 21 days, for Daniel to finally receive the understanding of the visions that he was getting. But the point is, from the first day that he decided to chasten himself, to fast, to get the understanding, the words or the prayer that he made was already heard from the first day. So what can we learn from this? We can learn that sometimes when you're dealing with the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, it takes patience. In other words, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is not going to move on your time. They're going to move on their time when they feel it's right within the spirit for you to receive more understanding. Okay? This is a perfect example right here. And when you go into the story, there was a reason why the angel was hindered from giving Daniel the understanding for the visions he was receiving after he decided to chasten himself and to pray unto the Father to give him understanding. Because when you read the 13th verse, it says, But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. That's 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief priests, another angel, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. So this king of Persia, his mind was very strong. And the Heavenly Father wanted the angels to do a job on his mind. And it took, 21 days for them to accomplish that very job on the king of Persia's mind, to do what the Heavenly Father Yahweh wanted him to do. Because that's what the angels do. That's their job. Their job is to carry out the orders of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That's the job of the angels. So it took 21 days. Meanwhile, during those 21 days, Daniel had prayed and wanted understanding for the visions he was receiving. So what does this teach us? What does this story teach us here? Patience. One word, patience. In other words, you're not going to get your questions answered in the time that you want. Okay? Because I'm sure from the very first day that Daniel decided to chasten himself to receive the understanding of the visions he was getting, which troubled him, because when you read, I believe it's the last verse of the 8th chapter, or it may be the 9th chapter, it clearly says that his cogitations, meaning his thoughts, were bothering him, so he wanted understanding. So I'm sure from the very first day he decided to chasten himself, he wouldn't have mind getting the explanation or the understanding the very first day he decided to chasten himself. But it took 21 days. So during that period, Daniel exhibited what? He showed what? Patience. And that's the very point. Okay? So this story here in the book of Daniel, the 10th chapter, is an excellent example of how the Heavenly Father deals in His time and how we are to learn patience and not to expect that every question or even the vision that we might receive that is going to be answered, right away or answered immediately. So something to think about, and hopefully you brothers, especially you new brothers, were edified by this example. This has been GMS Mailbag Extra for another edition of the Daily Edification. I'll see you in the next video. Shalom for now.